All right, I think we are about ready to begin. I want to say good morning and good afternoon to everyone on the East Coast. I want to thank everybody who's attending. We have another great turnout for our latest webinar in the NIMBL lecture series, Your Guide to SAP Cloud Platform. I'm Jake Eisbart, part of the NIMBL marketing team. A little bit about us. We are at NIMBL SAP technologists and SAP ecosystem thought leaders. Our consulting business, which is 50% of our work, delivers SAP projects, both technical and functional, while our Denver-based SAP managed services, the other 50%, supports both Fortune 1000 and mid-market across 24/7. Here are some of the services that we offer. Obviously, today we will be talking about SAP Cloud Platform, and here are some of the customers that we work with. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. We want to be able to answer as many questions as possible. So if you see take a look at the chat box in the lower left-hand corner, feel free to ask any questions, and Hari will answer them at the end of the presentation. In addition to that, everybody who is attending will be receiving a fully edited copy of the presentation. So if you have to step away or you miss a slide, don't worry, you will be receiving a fully edited copy. And let's get into it with our speaker. Our speaker today is Hari Sonnenahalli. Hari is the Development Practice Lead at NIMBL with a focus on SAP Cloud Platform. He possesses over 10 years of integration experience over different technologies, landscapes, and modules. Hari is a frequent blogger, presenter at conferences across the country, and is author of the upcoming SAP Press book, SAP Cloud Platform Tools and Services. Before I hand it over to Hari, we want to get a little bit of a lay of the land with just a couple of yes or no poll questions. The first poll question is, do you own any cloud platform products today? And we'll give people a little bit of time to fill that out. It looks like it's pretty much split down the middle between yes and no. And now we'll jump to our next poll question. Do you operate on SAP HANA Sidecar for analytics or applications today? And we'll give people a little bit more time to fill that out. Looks like it's a little bit weighted more towards no. Okay. All right, at this point, I'm going to hand the mic over to Hari. Hari, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks for the intro, and hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services. Agenda for today's webinar would be integration services, why and when to use, and decision-making factors influencing leveraging SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services. And we'll discuss how to use on-prem objects into SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services, and we'll be discussing a little bit on can these SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services replace on-prem solutions, and we will wrap up with some answering questions from the crew. In this session, we'll be covering different aspects of SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services, which is sold as a service. These services can be procured by paying subscription fee. And we will understand how and when and why and when to implement SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services. And we will look into different aspects of development, how to leverage prepackaged contents, and also look into some custom development capabilities of SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services. We will look into different architectures to leverage SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services in an organizational landscape. We will cover why and when to use SAP Cloud Platform integration services in the landscape, and what are the influencing factors or decision-making factors to leverage integration services. And we will understand how to leverage objects from on-prem solutions into SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services, and we will discuss can SAP Cloud Platform integration services replace on-prem integration solutions. We all understand that in any SAP implementation projects or SAP projects, the SDLC cycle is pretty long, and it is expensive, and it requires a lot more cross-functional teams and a lot more workforce to get it done. So some of the highlights and some of the obstacles which everyone faces in SAP projects are like cost to implement and time to implement. This is where SAP Cloud Platform has the emphasis to bring in cloud solutions so that it would reduce the cost of implementation and time to implement, because SAP Cloud Platform integration services is equipped with lots and lots of prepackaged content which customers can leverage, and they can use it in their landscape. When we look at the architecture of SAP Cloud Platform, it has the capabilities to integrate pretty much with any systems. SAP Cloud Platform has their own cloud apps, and also integration services can be leveraged to connect on-prem solutions and non-SAP solutions. And also, if customers are running on SAP Process Orchestration 7.5 with the Service Pack 5 and above, they have the capability to migrate to SAP Cloud Platform in case they are not using all the robust functionalities of Process Orchestration, because the iFlows which are developed in Process Orchestration can be directly migrated into SAP Cloud Platform integration services. Some of the highlights of SAP Cloud Platform integration services is it will lower the cost of implementation. The reason being, integration services are equipped with prepackaged contents for lots of applications. So, for example, SuccessFactors, C4, Ariba, and Concur. And it will increase the speed because there is no hardware maintenance, and it is all cloud-based, and enhance the simplicity for our customers. The reason being, they don't need to maintain any hardware on-prem, licensing costs will go down, and version upgrades and memory patching is not needed because everything is maintained by SAP. SAP Cloud Platform integration services allows customers to integrate on-demand to on-demand and on-prem to on-demand, and also by leveraging prepackaged contents, integration flows, the customers will have the flexibility and the ability to integrate with third-party cloud apps. And from a scalability perspective, integration services have the horizontal scalability, which provides more robustness for the customer's landscape, wherein they need not worry about the bottlenecks when the data volume is more and the transactions are high. It is dynamically scaled, and also it is a subscription-based usage, as I mentioned earlier, which will provide much more ease of running ERP in an organizational landscape. Continuing on to integration services, it is a complementary offering as of today, but there are some cases wherein it has been replaced completely. It has been replaced completely by integration services. And integration services are available in 4 different flavors as of today, which are like Standard Edition, Professional Edition, and Developer Edition, and Application Edition. Depending upon the customer's need, whatever customer wants to buy, they can go with the different editions. And also, these editions are classified depending upon the core, number of cores, and the memory, and also the system connections. When I say system connection, it depends. It is per system connection, irrespective of the number of transactions. Say, if customers buy Premium Edition, that means they have unlimited connection, and they will have the perks of complete software rollouts and updates for free, which means it is included in subscription, which is paid upfront. Some of the highlights of SAP Cloud Platform, some of the advantages of SAP Cloud Platform integration services: no maintenance. Customer need not maintain any hardware and software version patch and memory upgrades because it is all maintained by SAP. Less implementation time because SAP is loaded with prepackaged content, which has the integration flows and which can be leveraged to connect different systems. And over a period of time, it will lower the total cost of operation, and because it will greatly reduce the dependency on cross-functional team, and there is no need to maintain any software in-house or with a hosting provider. Effective failover capability. SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services uses node concept, wherein it would be a seamless transition. If in case a node fails, then automatically the other node will be up and running, and it has dynamic scalability. For the customers, depending upon the data volume, the systems can be scaled, and there is no need to worry about the memory and increasing the memory depending upon the data volume. One of the best feature which I liked is backward compatibility, because we had done a recent project wherein customer was on 7.1.1 and they were due for upgrade, and we moved them completely to the cloud. So the awesomeness of this is there is a backward compatibility, which means we were able to leverage all the objects which were developed in 7.1.1 into SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services. And the data security is a question always when data is transferred using HTTP or over the internet. SAP uses a concept called tenant isolation, which means though it is a physical server, but each customer will have their unique tenant ID, which means they are protected, the data is secured, and even SAP cannot look into customers' data. And SAP provides two types of security, which is at the message level security and the transport level security, which means that both the connection and the data are secured. And it will allow, like I mentioned, because of the backward compatibility feature, it will allow customers to use the mappings, reuse the existing mappings from the existing on-prem systems. And one of the newest tool which SAP has introduced is Integration Content Advisor. I was part of product evaluation, and this is one of the best tool I have ever seen when it comes to EDI implementation, because Integration Content Advisor is a tool which will allow customers to reduce the EDI cost by over 80%, and it will run everything in the cloud. This is available for the customers with enterprise edition as of today, and this is already live. Any product will have some of the cons, and this is no exception. As of today, there is no standard version management, and there is no support for core Java and ABAP mappings. But there is an alternative for this, and SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services has provided GUI scripts and JavaScripts, which are similar to Java and which are much faster than comparing to ABAP mappings and Java mappings. And if you are aware of the channel controls which are available on on-prem SAP PI solutions, wherein developer has the capability to control the individual channels, and he or she has the ability to set it up as manual or automatic. But this feature is not available yet in SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services, because adapter configurations are embedded part of iFlow. So it is not available for today, and the UDFs, Java UDFs are not supported. But like I said, we were able to use GUI scripts and JavaScripts to make it work, and using GUI scripts is similar to using Java. And no native support for operational mapping. This is one of the features which I love most on on-prem solutions, but there is an alternative for this in SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services, It is called request reply pattern, which acts similar to operation mapping. But we have updated product owner to get some of these features included in roadmap, and I think they have considered ours, and it will be available soon for the customers. It is part of the roadmap. Let's talk about the integration services of SAP Cloud Platform. Basically, the development phases are divided into, the tool itself is divided into 4 phases, which is called discover phase, design phase, monitor phase, and run phase. Run phase is nothing but the deployment phase of the integration flows. We will understand and see what each of these mean. So discover phase is an initial phase wherein customer can find prepackaged contents. Like I said, SAP Cloud Platform is loaded with prepackaged contents for different businesses. For example, it has a prepackaged content for Hybris, SuccessFactors, Google Analytics, and S4. If customer wants to leverage prepackaged content, they have the appropriate documentation under each package, and they can review that and leverage it. And this is the phase where they can search for the packages, and and discover phase is facilitated with filters for classifying the products. It has the filters for products, countries, and going further, it has filters for line of business and industry, and also the platforms, depending upon which customers will have the ability to find the appropriate package and use it as is when in their landscape. The second phase is the design phase, which is one of the most important phase of SAP Cloud Platform, wherein developer will be spending most of the time in developing the design, configuring the design, deploying the iFlows. As of today, we have 2 options for development. One is the configure only option, and the second one is custom development. So when you first log into the design phase, you will be provided with 2 options. One is the create option, another one is the import option. Create option is self-explanatory, wherein you will create everything from the scratch. Import option, like I mentioned, because of the reverse compatibility, and also if customers are running SAP Process Orchestration, SAP PACS 5 and above, they can import iFlows which are created in Process Orchestration directly into SAP Cloud Platform integration services. That is why the import option will be used. And design phase, this is one of the feature I really like. Being a developer in integration space, this design phase acts as one pit stop. When I say one pit stop, you can see that it has all the different tabs wherein you can have all the information pertaining to this particular integration flow when you compare to the traditional way of development. I'm not against traditional way of development, but always we need to embrace the modern way, modern technologies and the changes. When you look at this, your business person will have capability to put in what is the purpose of this particular interface, and what are the documents like BRD documents, if any, and technical specification documents and functional specification documents. And if there are any changes or the comments needs to be done, it can be put in the comments tab. And the artifacts is the tab where most of all the development iFlows will be attached. To give an analogy for this, if you consider traditional way of development, when I say traditional way of development, I'm just referring to any system on-prem. It may be 7.1.1 to 7.5, SP Pack 10, that is the latest and greatest. When you look at the traditional way of development, you have the namespace under which all the objects are attached, and you have scenarios in integration directory under which all the configuration objects are attached. But here it is all packaged under one package, and and it has an artifact under which both the design and development objects live. So as I mentioned, it will design phase has two ways to develop. One is the configure only, and the second one is the development from scratch. When the configure only options are available when customer wants to leverage the prepackaged content. So we had a customer wherein they wanted to send some data from Employee Central Confirmation, which is a success factors system, to ERP, and they were looking to develop it in cloud. But when we looked into the cloud solutions, and we could find a package which does the exact job what they require, and so we leveraged the existing prepackaged contents, and we were able to get them up and running. The awesomeness of this particular thing is like customers need not spend any development or testing effort when they're developing, because all the business logics and all the mappings and all the fields have been tested and maintained by SAP. In case if there are any issue, customers will receive the support, or all they need to do is like raise a ticket to integration support team, and they will support as is. And if in case there are any updates available for this particular package, it will be shown as update available. Whether if it depends upon the customers to choose it or not, but it will not impact any existing functionality. And integration service has one-stop monitoring with different capabilities, like it has a message monitoring, integration content monitoring, and security monitoring, and you can also monitor the stores and the logs. This is one of the features which I like because when you compare it to the traditional system, you need to hop between different windows, and which is kind of a complex, and you need to have a lot of integration background to switch between the windows and see where you need to monitor what. But when it comes to cloud solutions, we have one pit stop for all the monitoring, wherein customer has the ability to see number of integration flows deployed in their tenant, and what are the messages failed and the errors and so on. And the one good thing is like customers have the ability to customize this particular monitoring phase, wherein if there are iFlows which are business critical and it needs to be monitored most of the time, then there is the ability to customize. Why do customers create a customization tile and add it to the monitoring process? Manage integration content. So you can see what are the integration contents are available or deployed in your tenant, and also you can manage appropriately. And for every component of monitoring, customers have the ability to create a custom one. That is kind of a I think that is kind of a good thing which was not available for the on-prem solutions. And there is a fine line between the responsibility matrix here. Developer has the ability to do the security and also do some of the basis component, which will reduce the cross dependency on the other teams, so that they can be leveraged to do much more productive works. A developer can maintain security materials wherein you deploy the credentials, and this is a reference model. The way the security works in integration services is a reference model, which means all the credentials can be maintained here, and only the name of the credentials can be referenced when and where they can be, if they have to be used. And you can maintain all the certificates if you are using client-cert-based authentication, which is the recommended way of doing authentication. And also developer has the ability to do the connective test. It will support SSL, TSL, and HTTP. So they will be adding more types of connections wherein they don't need to depend upon anyone to do the connection test, because they will get the exceptions or the acceptance right there in the one web UI window. If if systems are leveraging any data stores like BW or getting data or writing data to some of the data stores, it can be maintained. Once you click the data store tile, you will get more details about the data store. And if in case there are any logs after multiple retries, then you can manage the logs in one window. We will look into this in actual tool in a bit. Important aspect is the decision-making factors, because we have seen many customers want to understand why and when they can move to Integration Cloud Platform, because SAP has so many, SAP middleware has so many flavors and everything is really good. But what are the decision-making factors to move to Integration Services of Cloud Platform? Landscape which are not running complex BPM is a potential candidate to move to Integration Services of Cloud Platform. And if landscape are using proxies, adapters, IDOCs, and web services, this may be a potential client to move to Integration Services, because you for these interfaces, for these iFlows, really you don't need all the robustness of existing on-prem solutions. And continuing on decision-making factors, landscape running 7.1.1 and due for upgrade, they are the potential candidate. Little bit of emphasis on this. We did a project of with one of our $18 billion agricultural client, and they were due for 7.1.1, and they were running 7.1.1, and everyone knows that they will be out of support really soon. And they had to evaluate between the cloud solutions or upgrading to Java Stack 7.5. So we evaluated the landscape, and their landscape seems to be medium complex, and we were able to move them completely to SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services. And they were reluctant in changing the business logics, because it would increase the cost of the budget, but we never touched any functionality, and we did a workaround with that, and we were successfully able to move them to 7.1.1 to Integration Services of Cloud Platform. And if landscape has already upgraded to Java Stack and they are not leveraging all the robustness or all the functionalities of Java Stack, because we have seen most of the customers have upgraded, but they don't leverage any of the functionalities because they don't need it for their landscape. Those systems or those landscape can be moved easily to Cloud Platform Integration Services. And if organizations are planning to do or test the waters for the first time, and if they are rolling out SAP for the first time and they want some integration experience in their landscape, and they want to see how this product even fits into their landscape hierarchy, then that would be cloud solutions are the best to be used. And how a customer can leverage SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services. There are multiple ways wherein customers can leverage depending upon the need for the landscape. This is directly from our experience. We have seen customers leveraging prepackaged content. That is one way to approach, or the hybrid architecture, which is pretty popular, and that's where customers are leveraging the SAP Cloud Platform. Wherein if landscape is running on a complex BPM and with a number of classical scenarios, that would be a potential candidate for hybrid architecture. And by introducing SAP Cloud integrations, we can move a lot of classical scenarios to cloud. And landscape running traditional dual stack and planning to implement cloud solutions. And if landscapes are having Java single stack system and need to migrate to cloud solutions, we can do a hybrid architecture. If customer is planning to leverage prepackaged content of integration services, then some of the prepackaged contents are hybrid integration, which has on the cloud for customers and success factors and S4. These are the prepackaged contents, and we recently implemented for one of the client, we implemented SuccessFactors, which was everything out of box, and it was best suited for their landscape, and everything was up and running with minimal testing and development effort. Let's talk about the hybrid architecture, which can be done, and this is this scenario we recently did with one of our customers, wherein they had a dual stack system and they were running all the heavy lifting BPMs and also the classical scenarios in the landscape. They had business process management from legacy system to like AS400, and they had BPMs to send and receive sales history to APO and purchase sales orders to APO. And also they had the IDOC scenarios with the high data volume running on their landscape. So what we did was we re-architected their landscape and introduced SAP Cloud Platform integration services, wherein we moved all their classical scenarios to SAP Cloud Platform integration services and allocated all the hardware and all the resources to heavy processes like the landscape running BPMs. We allocated all the resources to it. The value add by doing this was for sure they had to run two integrations. The one is like very minimal maintenance, and because all the classical scenarios will run, and it was easy to migrate. And the most value add was they had a system wherein they did not have to worry about the bottlenecks because all the resources were allocated to run heavy lifting processes. Now that I have talked a lot about SAP Cloud Platform, we will see SAP Cloud Platform integration tool in action. So we will log into the tool. Like I said, the integration tool is divided into 4 phases, which is discover, design, monitor, and run. And we will, before looking into the custom development, I just wanted to show the prepackaged content. I will take an example of SAP Hybris integration with Google Analytics. So SAP Hybris is a marketing platform, and Google Analytics is to see the real-time analytics. And if customer wants to leverage this prepackaged content, it is provided with all the documentation, and customers can go through this particular documentation to make sure the solution is appropriate for their landscape. And under the artifacts, under the artifact, SAP has developed an iFlow. We will just see how a customer can leverage this particular package. If I have to leverage this package, I need to select this and hit the copy button at the right top. So what it does is it will copy the existing package into the design phase, which is into the tenant space of the customer. I know we are getting the error here because I have done it before, and I will show you exactly where it is. So once you hit the copy, and you will see that the whole package is copied into your development phase. We shall just take a look at the interface itself, the iFlow development. So if I click on this and open integration flow, you can imagine the scale of development which went into this. So this is a huge development if you want to do it in a traditional way, wherein you have to get with your team to develop your functional. First of all, you need to develop your BRD documents, functional spec, technical spec, then the development, the unit testing, regression testing, user acceptance testing, and go live. So the point here is it will take a lot more development effort if you want to get the same solution with on-prem solution. I'm not saying that it cannot be done. It can be done, but it will take a lot more time. But if customers can leverage this existing package, all the logics, all the business flows are pre-built. All customer needs to do is to connect connect the systems from where it needs to trigger the data and the systems where it has to receive the data, and all the maintenance and everything is done by SAP integration team. Let's look at the custom development really quick. So this is the development using OData services, because the reason I took OData service is to show the request reply pattern, which is an alternative to operation mapping. And here, if you see the OData to XML mapping, this was the mapping which was directly from existing system, and I did not have to change any business logic. I just downloaded the mapping in .mmp file by connecting it to Eclipse, and then I imported it right away into the mapping step of this integration flow. I don't have to change any logic, but this is a small example. But if you consider big mappings, which has more fields, then it will give a big relief to project team and also the business, so that the no functionalities are touched or nothing is messed up here. So I just wanted to I will just trigger the message, and the intent of this particular iFlow is to filter with order number 10249. So let's go back to the tool, and we will see what we have in monitoring. So in monitoring, like I mentioned, it is one pitch top. Everything you can see it in a web UI. And just now I triggered a message, and it was all successful. And I can read the logs, and I can see what was processed. And these logs are specifically for developers, and this is more on an Camel-based language, because Camel is the engine on which SAP Integration Services is built. But we can customize these logs using Groovy scripts and JavaScript, so that end user will have the information whatever is needed. So going back to sorry, here I am having a technical glitch. Give me a sec here. Okay. So that is how we can leverage the existing package from the on-prem solutions, and what it does to the landscape. It will reduce the implementation cost by 80%, and this is what I have seen, and this is from my personal experience with these projects, and it is very easy to learn tool. You don't need, in case if companies are planning to educate the internal team, it would be a good start, and they can be up and running with integration development within 3 months. Definitely integration experience will help, but it is not needed in particular to learn integration services development, how to develop in using integration services. And it will remove the dependency on basis team, and I'm not against basis team. I love basis team, but they may be involved in much more productive work, and the developer can take care of whole tenant and integration space if needed. And enhancements are automatically available. Like I said, it is part of subscription fee, and it is automatically available for the customers. And Can this replace on-prem solutions? As of today, on-prem solutions are not going anywhere, but depending upon the usage case and depending upon the landscape, we can definitely architect in a way and migrate on-prem solution customers to integration services. Some of the take-home points are if customers leverage hardware integration services, no need to maintain hardware and software, and prepackaged integration flow, content reduces implementation time, and SAP Data Centers maintains customer as a tenant, wherein the data is secured as it provides both message level security and transport level securities. SAP Cloud integration is easy to scale, and the best feature which I have liked is backward compatibility with traditional system, and the tenant isolation will secure the data and also the connections. Last but not the least, SAP Cloud integration is one pitch-stop solution, as it is very easy to use. If people don't have prior experience with integrations, and also initially when you learn any new tool, it feels it is hard, but once you get used to it, or if you're switching from a traditional way of development to cloud, I think it should be a cakewalk.
All right. So before we get to the questions, we have a number of questions. That's why we wanted to allow a good amount of time for those. Just a couple more poll questions to wrap it up. Do you currently run SAP NetWeaver PI or NetWeaver PO today? And it looks like we're getting a good amount of people as yes. More than not. Okay, great. Got a couple more seconds. And then finally, have you deployed Fiori on-premise yet? And we'll give people a little bit of time to fill that out as well before we get to the Q&A. All right, looks like everybody has filled it out. And let's get to the questions. So our first question for Hari is from Alex. Are there two versions of CPI, one for PI and PO and another for data services?
That's a great question. Yes, SAP, initially when SAP came out with the integration solution, it has HCI. It was named as HANA Cloud Integration, and it had two flavors, which was PI and DS, where PI stands for Process Integration, and DS stands for Data Services. But they changed the name often, but the latest, and I think this should be the permanent name, it is sold as SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services and SAP Cloud Platform Data Services. So it is very easy for customer to procure depending upon the need.
Okay, great. Brian had a question. Would you consider SCPIS mature? Are there any customer references that can use it at high volume and 30-plus applications to integrate with?
Again, a great question. It is not fair to compare SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services with a decade-old tool. But to answer the question, yes, it is maturing over a period of time. When you compare to 2013 and compare to 2018, it has a lot more robust features, and we can provide the customer reference who are running more than 30 applications. Like I mentioned, we recently did a project wherein we completely moved an $18 billion agricultural company to SAP Cloud Platform. And also it depends upon the landscape, how the objects have been designed and what we can leverage and what needs to be developed.
All right, Brian had a follow-up to that. Would you recommend SAP Cloud Platform Integration Services for on-prem to on-prem integration?
Yes, definitely. If you're rolling out integrations for the first time, you can definitely use integration services. But like I said, it's always complex to keep it simple. It is very simple to make it complex. So if we are leveraging integration services, because it has few limitations like any other tool has, there should be a lot more thought process and brainstorming session during the blueprint phase rather than tweaking, rather than doing development and expecting cloud integration services to do magic. But yeah, definitely if you are doing on-prem to on-prem, you can definitely leverage integration services, because that's what we have done with one of our customers. They had 2 on-prem solutions which was going outside their firewall, but in between they did not wanted to spend money on having a middleware wherein they had to do maintenance. We just got rid of them and they just went into subscription model and they're happy.
All right. Zia asks, are the prepackaged artifacts not available for on-prem PI to download and work on?
There are few. When it comes to on-prem, they have a prepackaged content for supply chain management. They have prepackaged content for a little bit of CRM, but it doesn't have as many as packages does cloud solutions have.
Mark asks, the pricing that you mentioned, is that based on connections? Is there any limit to the volume of data?
It is not limited on the volume of data because it is scalable, and also as long as you are not storing anything in integration in cloud, which is not a good practice, your fee is not increased. So it only depends upon the number of connections per system.
All right. Alex had another question. Can CPI be used for integrating SuccessFactors Employee Central data with SAP BW? And is there any standard prepackaged content for this?
Definitely you can use prepackaged content from SuccessFactors and you can integrate it to BW because SAP has a lot of prepackaged contents, and we have recently implemented one to one of the customer wherein they had to send replication data almost real time to ERP and they get the confirmations to SuccessFactors.
Okay, Dean asked, what exactly is meant by SAP integration? Integration between SAP and third-party apps, integration between SAP OP and SAP Cloud apps? Does this include integration between, for example, OP, ERP, and CRM?
Yeah, integration is basically bridge between any 2 systems. When I say integration services, wherein you can leverage integration services to do your data transformation. It's a transactional data transformation, which means you'll be sending purchase orders to some other system. You can pass it through integration services. You can do on-demand to on-demand, on-prem to on-prem, or on-prem to cloud. There are different flavors depending upon the landscape requirement.
Okay, great. We'll continue on with the questions in just a second. If you saw in the chat box and are looking to receive our SAP CP newsletter, it's quarterly with videos and updates, articles, and blogs. Just type CP into the chat box and we'll make sure that you get on the list. All right, let's continue with the questions. Brian asks, any customer references that use Cloud Platform IS for large EDI usage?
Like I mentioned, there are few customers who are looking into. Okay, let me step back and a little bit of history here. So initially, when SAP Cloud Platform came out with the integration content advisor tool, it was not up to the mark, and customers gave a honest feedback, which made SAP to take it down and do a ramp up on that. And now that they have finished the ramp up phase and EDI as a tool is available in the cloud. So EDI, there are customers who have moved to EDI on cloud, but I think the number of customers are less compared to on-prem solutions because of some of the limitations with EDI. But with this evolution of this new tool, Integration Content Advisor, it is really good and very simple to use because it has more than 400 data types. It has all the complex, simple data types, and it has its own algorithm which will map the development of mapping guidelines and implementation guidelines really easy.
All right. Mark asks, if we are partnered with other cloud tenants such as Azure, can this be installed on Azure?
This is not a piece of software which can be installed, but this is the software which can be procured, and they sell it as tenant. This is hosted by SAP, and SAP can host it. I think they have all the different partners. Azure is partner, and cloud, Google Cloud, and Amazon. But it is all hosted by SAP. You cannot install the software by yourself.
Okay, Vishnu asks, how many customers implemented SAP CP EDI solutions up till now? And did anyone migrate from an on-prem solution?
Most of the customers who use EDI are slowly looking into cloud integration solutions. I cannot say that every customer is using cloud, but there is a path towards embracing this change because of this new tool. So we will get the report next quarter, because this tool has made available just a couple of weeks back with the Enterprise Cloud Edition. So I am hoping that customers will evaluate this new tool, and definitely there will be more momentum now.
All right. Unless we have any other questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Let's check and see whether or not anybody else does. Okay, great. So I want to thank Hari very much for the presentation. Definitely want to thank everybody for joining us. Again, everybody will be receiving a fully edited copy of the video. And as you leave, you will see a comment box. We'd love to hear what you thought of the presentation and what you'd like to see in the future in terms of NIMBL presentations. Feel free to add any comments that you like. And once again, as you leave, if you would like to sign up for our SAP CP newsletter, just type CP into the chat box, and we'll make sure you get it. Hari, thank you so much. And again, thank you for everybody for joining us. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Great. Bye.